teachers. Hello, hello, and a very good evening to one and all present over here. I, Simran Kaur, welcome you all in today's contest, that is Pick a Book contest. It gives me an immense pleasure to start this contest by heartily welcoming everybody. I heartily welcome our chief patron, our principal ma'am, Dr. Kurvinder Kaur, our respected judges, Dr. Radha Gautam from Mumbai University, Dr. Tahira Sharma, Department of Urdu, Government College of Education, Jammu, and Professor Sonia Khajuria from GCW Parade. And I extend my welcome to the convener literary club, Professor Shalini Rana and Professor Seema. In today's contest, our participant will be going to present their presentation on the book they had chosen. Reading is beneficial in many ways. It improves our focus, memory, and communication skills. Reading makes you more empathetic. Reading is a way to escape from your own life and can take you to faraway lands and put you in other people's shoes. By viewing the world from a point of view that is not your own, you become more empathetic. It keeps your brain healthy. It reduces stress and improves your mental health. It also allows you to learn new things to help you succeed in your work and relationships. As George R.R. Martin said, "A readers live 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives only once." Convener of the program, Professor Shalini Rana, to formally welcome all the dignitaries and participants.
Thank you, Ms. Simran. That was a wonderful beginning. Thank you very much. I wholeheartedly welcome our respected judges, Dr. Radha Gautam from Mumbai, Dr. Sonia Khajuria, Associate Professor from Department of English, GCW Parade, Dr. Tahira Shah, eminent writer and scholar from the Department of Urdu, Government College of Education, Jammu, and all the participants from GCOE and different colleges of Jammu and Kashmir. Pick a Book contest is a wonderful concept. And why did we come up with this program? It is because we found that slowly and gradually, because of too much dependency on technology, our children are shying away or running away from the physical text, the actual books. And but we cannot complain because change is the law of nature, and every generation has its own way of reading, writing, and means of expression. We cannot blame them. They are in sync with the present times. But since we wanted to inculcate the old habits of reading, because it has its own multifarious benefits, so we thought of this program, and I will not claim that this is my original idea. I would like to thank Brigadier Dr. Vijay Sagar Dhiman, who gave me this idea, and I liked it, and I thought that we should also hold a program on this concept. I think it is a faster way of inculcating reading habit, because these days, students feel repulsive when you show them a big text or a voluminous text. So what should we do? With the faster pace, we came up with this idea. And through this, what the students have to do is whatever book they have read or they have liked, because we still have many good readers among us, although their percentage is low. So they have to present a PPT and they have to narrate the story in that manner that everybody is attracted or tempted towards reading that book. And with this way, half of the work is already done. When you are already introduced to the book, it becomes very easy for you. It saves a lot of time and energy, because these days the students are doing multitasking. They are doing many things at the same point of time. So, and we all know that reading has its own benefits. Of course, it gives you a lot of patience. You enter into a new world, you enter into different worlds. You get to know about different characters, different kind of people. After all, fiction or non-fiction, they are the reflection of society. Besides this, even we found that during the COVID experience, under lockdown, when there was no option for people, they were even bored of watching YouTube channels and other things. There were so many people who went back to their libraries, who again opened their texts, their novels, and whatever books they had, and they enjoyed reading that. If you are an avid reader, if you love reading, you can never feel alone. And it's only a matter of habit. So with this objective, we had designed this program, and we got a wonderful response from different participants. And we will continue this event. We have planned that after every 2 months, we will be holding such meeting under Language Club. So that we can get to know about more and more books within shorter period of time, and the moment we get time, we read those books suggested by our friends. And we have kept this program open for all languages, because it is our duty that our society is multilingual society, and it is the duty of we Indians to protect our languages. So you people are welcome to present your books in any languages which you like. And with this, I welcome all the faculty members of my college who are present in the meeting. I also welcome our mentor in absentia. I would like to thank our principal, ma'am, Dr. Kulvinder Kaur, our mentor. She always gives us a free hand. She gives us a freedom to conduct whatever kinds of programs we want to. Whatever idea we come up with, she always welcomes them. So I'm very thankful to our principal, ma'am, Dr. Kulvinder Kaur, and all the senior teachers who have joined us. I welcome Professor Shapriya, Shamim Bhatti, and all the other professors who have joined us today, and all the participants who had been regular participants of most of our programs. Very warm welcome to you. And there may be many new participants who have joined us today. They are also wholeheartedly welcome. And I request them to keep on participating in other programs also. Thank you very much. Over to you, Ms. Simran.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, the rules for the contest are: each participant will not take more than 5 to 7 minutes. They will be assigned marks out of 10 based on their content, presentation, and narrativity. Participants can choose any language in which they want to present the book. I'd like to tell the audience that the meeting will be recorded, and the rest of the participants are requested to keep their mic on mute mode. I'll request not to make any kind of disturbance. Now, I'd like to introduce today's participants. Priya Singh from B.Ed semester 2nd, Mr. Mukeed Ahmed Sheikh, B.Ed semester 2nd, Ms. Khushi, B.A. semester 2nd, Ms. Jyoti Valoria, B.Ed semester 2nd, Rumita Sharma from Integrated B.Ed M.Ed semester 2nd, Nikita from English Honors semester 5th, Usma Kausar from B.Ed semester 2nd, Ruchi from MA semester 2nd, Bindia Jamwal from M.Ed semester 4th, and our last participant is Ms. Charu from Integrated B.Ed and M.Ed semester 5th. Now I request our first participant.
Excuse me, sorry for interrupting you. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello, it's Simran. Would you please add my name? It's Sakshi Sambyal.
Yes, we have already sent your name, Sakshi, to all the judges.
Okay,
You need not to worry. Yeah. Yes, Simran, please continue.
Now I request our first participant, Ms. Priya Basing, to start with her presentation. Her presentation is on the book, The Place of Illusion. Over to Priya Basing.
Thank you so much, Simran. I would like to declare one thing. It's Palace of Illusions. The title of the book is Palace of Illusions. So hello, everyone. My name is Priya Basing. I am an avid reader. And today I am going to share one of my favorite books with you. And one thing I would like to share is the presence of my English professor, under whom I have pursued my major in English literature, Dr. Sonia Khajuria. She is the one who introduced me to this book, and such a great coincidence to have her with us right now. So I'll start sharing my screen now. I hope you can see the screen.
Uh, Not yet, not yet,
Uh,
Priya.
okay. Now.
Let's wait for a few seconds, maybe. Because we have kept this option open, multiple participants can share. Yeah, I think it's coming.
Can you see the presentation now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so the book I have decided to share with you is The Palace of Illusions by Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. So the book is uh, basically a retelling of the ancient epic Mahabharata. So I would request all the members to please don't consider the religion aspect here. Please keep your minds open while when you are reading. Keep the religion and other aspects aside. The novel is narrated from the POV of Panchali, whom we also known as Draupadi, and Yagyaseni because she was born from fire. The page count of the book is 360, and the genre is historical fiction, mythology, and Indian literature. So, about the author was born in Kolkata, India, and two of her very famous books, The Mistress of Spices and The Sister of My Heart, have been made into movies. She had made her work into Best American Short Stories, the O. Henry Prize Stories, and the two Pushcart Prize anthologies. And these are some really big names, I must tell you. Her themes generally include contemporary America, women, immigration, and a lot of fantasy. She mostly writes genres like realistic fiction, historical fiction, mythology, and fantasy. Her other works include the Before We Visit the Goddess, The Forest of Enchantments. This one is a retelling of Ramayana, and The Mistress of Spices, and some other amazing works. The characters of the novel are basically taken from the Mahabharata, and their personalities have been kept the same. However, the feminist side of Panchali and the dominant male side is amplified to justify the feminist theme of the novel. I have here put some quotes from the book, so you can just skim through them and read them and see the amazing writing of the author and the content of the book. It will automatically convince you to read the book. Pick up and just read the book. So about the story of the book, the story begins. The story runs around Draupadi's life. It is Draupadi's point of view. So we see Draupadi's birth from fire, and it develops into reflecting her life, and it ends with her departure from the world. There was a prophecy at her birth that she will change the course of history, and we witness how Draupadi's life, how Draupadi herself changes the course of history, as we all know in the epic. The theme of the book is gender power structure. It is a very prominent theme of the book, and the women at that time were considered as a property of their husband, and that is shown very clearly when you see the Vastraharan scene and the marriage scene of wedding scene of Draupadi. The book is also called as a a feminist retelling of Mahabharata. We see here Panchali struggling between keeping herself to the prescribed norms of the society and struggling between her individuality also. Why would I recommend this book? So if you have read Mahabharata, if you know about Mahabharata, this will provide you with a new point of view. But if you haven't read the epic, now this will definitely give you a lot of information about it. The book ensures that the epic will have a place in your modern bookshelf with all the young adults and the novels we read. You will also have the epic there. And the writing of the author, I have no words for it. The words just flow like honey. And if you are a if you are an avid reader, then you will know what a good writing, how much a good writing is important. And lastly, if you ask me why should you read this book, now the author has brilliantly edified the importance of women in our society. So if you like reading women-centric novels, women-centric books, this is for you. And if you like mythology, if you like reading about mythology, this is for you. And the book is widely available on different different e-commerce websites, Amazon, Flipkart, Volkswagen. You can even get them in the local bookstores. There are different formats available. There are paperback. You can even listen to the audiobooks. You can read the e-books. So that was all. And I would like to thank you, our teachers, to the host for organizing this beautiful session. And it was a delight for a reader like me to share my love of reading. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Priya.
Very good. Very good.
You presented well. Now I request our second participant, Mr. Mukeet Ahmed Sheikh from BA semester 2nd. His presentation is on the book, Urdu book, Khuda Ki Basti. Over to you, Mukeet.
Thank you. Good evening, teachers and all the students. I have chosen a book, Urdu novel, Khuda Ki Basti, written by Shaukat Siddiqui, one of the famous writers of Pakistan. Can I share my screen?
Yes, please
Yes,
go
you
ahead.
can.
Ma'am, is my screen visible?
Yes, yes, it is.
मैम नॉवल जो है वो उर्दू में है, तो शायद मुझे बेहतर लगता है कि उर्दू में ही इसको प्रेजेंट किया जाए।
बिल्कुल।
तो नॉवल का नाम खुदा की बस्ती है। ये एक पाकिस्तानी राइटर है, शौकत अहमद सिद्दीकी, तो उन्होंने लिखा है। वो उनकी तारीख, मुसन्निफ जिसको हम ऑथर बोलते हैं, मुसन्निफ शौकत सिद्दीकी है। उनकी तारीख पैदाइश 20 मार्च 1923 है और वफात उनकी 16 दिसंबर 2006 में हुई है। उन्होंने कई और नावल भी लिखे हैं, जैसे कैमसगाह, जांगलूस और चार दीवारी। इसके अलावा उन्होंने शॉर्ट स्टोरीज भी लिखी है, जिनके नाम तीसरा आदमी, अंधेरा और अंधेरे, रातों का शहर और कीमियागर है। और खुदा की बस्ती पर उनको एक बहुत बड़ा इनाम मिला है, जिसका नाम आदमजी अदबी अवार्ड है। और पाकिस्तान का एक बहुत बड़ा अवार्ड है सितारा इम्तियाज, जो उनको 2003 में उन्हें मिला था। इस नावल के किरदार, पहले मैं ये बताना चाहूँ, ये नावल क्यों लिखा गया है। इसका नाम खुदा की बस्ती इसलिए रखा गया था, ऐसा कहा जाता है कि जो खुदा की बस्ती होती है, वहां पे कोई गलत हालात पेश नहीं आते हैं, वहां पे खुदा का ही रहम होता है। लेकिन जो हालात यहाँ पे पेश आते हैं, ये हिंदुस्तान की तकसीम के बाद, पार्टीशन के बाद जो हालात पाकिस्तान में पेश आए हैं, उनको पेश किया गया है इस नावल में। इसके कुछ अहम कैरेक्टर्स, एक है राजा, जो एक इंतहाई गरीब लड़का होता है, एक बूढ़े को रेडी पर चलाता है और भीख मांगता है और उसी से अपना गुजारा करता है। दूसरा किरदार उसका दोस्त होता है, जो शामी होता है, वो अपने बाप की दुकान चलाता है। और एक और उनका दोस्त होता है, जिसका नाम नौशा होता है। वो एक यतीम लड़का होता है, यानी उसके वालिद की वफात हुई होती है। उसकी माँ बीड़ियां बनाती रहती है और उन्हीं से अपना गुजारा करती है। कुछ और किरदार जो है, काले साहिब, नौशा की माँ, अनु, सुल्ताना, सलमान, नियाज वगैरह इसके अहम है। इस नावल में शौकत सिद्दीकी ने हिंदुस्तान की तकसीम के बाद जो पाकिस्तान में जो मसाइल उभर आए, पाकिस्तान की जो मसाइल दरपेश आए, उन पर रोशनी डाली है। और जिस हालात से पाकिस्तान गुजर रही थी, उसके बाद उनको पेश किया हुआ है। और इस नावल में समाज की एक जीती जागती तस्वीर को पेश किया गया। जैसे शालिनी मैम ने भी पहले कहा है कि जो फिक्शन है वो मतलब समाज को दिखाती है हमारे। इसका एक ब्रीफ स्टोरी ये है कि इसमें 3 किरदार होते हैं, राजा, शामी और नौशा। तीनों कम उम्र और मुफलिस होते हैं, यानी गरीब होते हैं। राजा एक गरीब बूढ़े भिखारी को अपने साथ चलाता है और भीख मांगकर अपना गुजारा करता है। जो शामी होता है वो अपने बाप की दुकान चलाता है। और नौशा जो होता है वो भी नौशा एक मिस्त्री की दुकान पर काम करता है, गाड़ियों के मिस्त्री की दुकान पर काम करता है और वहां से वो पुर्जे चुराता है। और एक आदमी जिसका नाम नियाज होता है, उसको बेचता है। वो नियाज का अक्सर आना जाना नौशा के घर होता है। वो उसकी पहली बीवी मर चुकी होती है। अब वो नौशा की माँ से यानी रजिया से शादी करना चाहता है, पैसे की लालच में। इस नावल का एक अहम कैरेक्टर है काले साहिब, जो नियाज को एक लालच देता है इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी का, बीमा पॉलिसी का। वो उसको कहता है कि अगर तू किसी औरत से शादी करेगा, अगर वो मर जाए तो तुझे 50,000 मिलेंगे। तो उसके नियाज के मन में लालच आ जाता है, तो वो नौशा की माँ से शादी कर लेता है। बाद में वो डॉक्टर मोटो को, अपने एक कैरेक्टर और है डॉक्टर मोटो, उससे मिलता है। उसको कहता है कि अब मैंने इससे शादी कर ली है, तू इसको दवाइयों से किसी भी तरह मार दे, इतनी दवाइयां दे तो ये मर जाए, ताकि मुझे मुझे 50,000 पैसे मिल जाए, इंश्योरेंस के पैसे मिल जाए, और मैं इसकी इसकी बेटी यानी अपनी ही सौतेली बेटी से शादी करूं। वहां जो 3 दोस्त होते हैं वो बहुत से गरीब होते हैं, और वो कराची भाग जाते हैं। कराची में इसलिए भागते हैं कि शायद उन्हें कुछ पैसा मिल जाए, कोई मजदूरी मिल जाए। लेकिन वहां इनके साथ ऐसे हालात हो जाते हैं, उनको एक इंसान, एक शख्स मिल जाता है जिसका नाम रहमान होता है। वो उन्हें अपने साथ लालच देकर ले जाता है, और एक और शख्स शाहजी को 1500 में बेच देता है। हालात ऐसे हैं कि लोग बेचे जाते थे उस टाइम, और जो शाहजी था उनसे गलत काम करवाता है, उनको घरों में बेचता है, चोरियां करता है और अपना गुजारा करता है वो। वहां वो तीनों दोस्त जेल चले जाते हैं। जेल से निकलने के बाद वो अलग होते हैं। जब वो कुछ अरसे के बाद, बहुत टाइम के बाद जब वो मिलते हैं, तो एक चोरी में मुब्तला होता है, और एक के जिस्म पर कोढ़ की बीमारी लगी होती है, बहुत बुरी किस्म की बीमारी लगी होती है। बहुत से अरसे के बाद जब नौशा अपने घर चला जाता है, तो वो अपनी माँ को नहीं पाता है। वो उसको खबर मिलती है कि उसकी माँ मर चुकी है, और उसका भाई एक छोटा होता है, जो तब लड़का होता है, लेकिन हिजड़ों के साथ अब घूमता रहता है वो। इस पूरे नॉवल में तकसीम में हिंद यानी पार्टीशन, उसके बाद के पाकिस्तान के मुआशरे, समाज को दिखाया गया है। ये मैं इसलिए रिकमेंड कर रहा हूँ पढ़ने के लिए। इसकी अहमियत का अंदाजा आपको इस बात से लगाया जा सकता है कि इसका तर्जुमा, इसका ट्रांसलेशन दुनिया की 26 मोस्ट फेमस लैंग्वेज में हुआ है। 26 जबानों में इसका ट्रांसलेशन हुआ है, और इस किताब के, इस नॉवल के अभी तक 50 से बहुत ज्यादा एडिशन इसके शाया हो चुके हैं। और पाकिस्तान में अभी तक 5 बार ये टीवी पर शाया हुआ है, यानी सीरियलाइज हुआ है। शायद आप में से बहुत से ऐसे होंगे जो उर्दू नहीं पढ़ सकते हैं। इसके इंग्लिश में भी ट्रांसलेशंस है, अमेजोन पे मिल सकते हैं। और जो वो भी नहीं पढ़ सकते हैं, इसके यूट्यूब पे भी इसकी मूवीज, इसके सीरियल्स हैं, वो भी देख सकते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच।
बहुत अच्छे, बहुत अच्छे, बहुत बढ़िया। उम्मीद से
Thank you
कहीं
so
लाख
much,
गुना
Mukeet.
बेहतर। मुकीत, जब आप प्रेजेंट कर रहे थे तो मैं पूछने ही लगी थी कि क्या इसकी ट्रांसलेशन अवेलेबल है, और अगले ही पल आपने बताया हमें कि दैट इट इज अवेलेबल इन इंग्लिश। और आज के लिए तो हमारा होमवर्क हमें मिल गया कि शाम को हम यूट्यूब पर ये कहानी सर्च करेंगे, हम उस पर भी देखेंगे, और इंग्लिश ट्रांसलेशन और हिंदी ट्रांसलेशंस जो भी, जिसको जो लैंग्वेज पसंद हो उसमें वो पढ़ेंगे। आपने हमें काफी ऑप्शंस दिए कि इसमें 26 लैंग्वेजेस में ये बुक अवेलेबल है। और पार्टीशन नॉवल और पार्टीशन के टाइम की बुक्स जो है बहुत दिल दहलाने वाली किताबें हैं। लोग कहते हैं कि आज कलयुग है या आज ऐसा है, लेकिन आप उस वक्त का, अगर 1947 के बाद के जो आप नॉवेल्स पढ़ेंगे, आपकी आंखों में आंसू आ जाएंगे, चाहे वो हिंदुस्तानी राइटर्स ने लिखे हों चाहे पाकिस्तानी राइटर्स ने लिखे, और हम सोचने पे मजबूर हो जाते हैं कि ह्यूमैनिटी इतना नीचे गिर सकती थी, और उससे हमें सबक मिलता है कि नहीं, हमें ऐसे काम नहीं करने। तो बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया मुकीत, अपनी
थैंक यू सो मच मैम।
सेहत खराब होने के बावजूद भी आपने इसमें पार्टिसिपेट किया।
थैंक
आपका
यू
बहुत
सो
बहुत
मच।
शुक्रिया, तहे दिल से आपका शुक्रिया।
थैंक यू सो मच।
जी
थैंक यू।
सिमरन, जी सिमरन।
Thank you, Mukeet. Now our next participant is Miss Khushi from BA Semester 2nd. Her presentation is on the book Untouchable. Over to you, Khushi.
Am I audible now?
Yes,
Yes, you are audible.
Good evening, everyone. I am Khushi, student of BA Semester 2nd from GCW Parade. Let me share my screen. Is it visible, ma'am?
yes, yes, it is visible. Yeah, fine.
I have chosen a book that is novel of Mulkraj Anand, Untouchable. It is the finest book I have ever read. This is the front page of the book, and the name of the book is Untouchable, and the name of the author is Mulk Raj Anand. So, Mulk Raj Anand was born on December 12, 1905. He was brought up in Peshawar, Pakistan. He is one of the pioneer writers in the field of Indian writing in English. He took his education in universities of Lahore, London, and Cambridge. Having received education in Europe, broadened his mind and found caste hegemony in Indian society absurd, and he was first Indian novelist who exposed lower strata of society. He wrote many novels like Coolie in 1936, Two Leaf and the Bud in 1937, Across the Black Waters in 1940, The Village in 1936. The main focus of Mulk Raj Anand was to expose the caste system of Indian society. He wrote motivational novels. The story has many characters. Baka is the central one. The rest of the characters are related to him in one way or in another way. So Baka is the main protagonist. Raka, he is Baka brothers. Chota is Baka's best friend. Ramcharan, he is washerman's son. Laka, he is Baka's father. Sohini, she is Baka's young sister and she works in temple. Havaldar Charat Singh, he is Baka's role model. He admired him most. Ramanandan, he is moneylender. Gulabo, mother of Ramcharan. Pandit Kalinath, he is the priest of the temple. Hakim Bhagwan Das, he is local doctor. Mahatma Gandhi, he is the inspirational force for Baka. So the highlights of the story, there are few main highlights of the story around which the story revolves. The first is devotion to work. Baka is truly devoted to his work. He is honest, he is punctual, and he never skips his duty. The second one is respect from Havaldar. Baka receives Baka gets respect from the Havaldar. He's the only person who respects him. Havaldar Charat Singh. Third is insulted by a lady. There's an incident in the story in which Baka is brutally insulted by the two ladies. Then the fourth point is fight with the Pandit. Baka had a serious fight with Pandit due to the reason because Pandit tried to molest his sister named as Sohini. So the famous dialogue from the story is polluted, polluted, you swine. And the famous quote from the story is, you swine, you dog, why didn't you shout and warn me of your approach? He shouted as he met Baka's eyes, don't you know, you brute, that you must not touch me? Then the interesting part of the story, the most interesting part, as I personally feel that this is the most interesting part and the most emotional part. So there's an incident in the story. Lakha is the father of Baka, as I told earlier. Lakha told an incident of Baka's illness when he was a small child. His father visited Hakim for getting medicine for Baka. Hakim did not oblige him but also scolded him with abusive words. Having received such treatment from Hakim, Lakha left any hope for his child. Suddenly he saw a figure on the threshold of his door, and the figure was of Hakim, who came there to give him medicine for Baka. This incident again convinced Lakha to reassure his faith over humanity. It was an emotional episode where a father begged like a beggar in front of Mountbatten. This scene shows that the humanity was still not dead in the casteism. Now the next, I don't know why it's not moving. Yeah. So the main plot of the story is Baka is sweeper by caste, has the craving for living a normal life like any other upper caste people. He followed routine punctually. He swept latrine in the morning and evening. During the day, he played with his friends and spent his days happily. The writer narrated his life of one day when he woke up as usually. He did his job and returned home. From meeting with his friend to end of the day, he faced humiliation. The priest, a lady, a pedestrian insulted him. He tried to understand why he was being insulted. Finally, he got salvation. This speech infused a new spirit in him. Let's see what he will do further. Now, there are main scenes in the story. First one is Baka. In the daytime, he play hockey with his friends. Second one, as I told earlier, that he was insulted by the lady. He was insulted by the two ladies. One belonged to the upper class locality and the other who was the mother of the child who was playing with Baka and got injured. And the last one is he saw a godly figure in Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi was a true inspiration for Bakha. Then why I have chosen this book? I have chosen this book because I like the book personally and I like the concept as well the story. And why I recommend this book to you? I recommend this book to you because the story Bakha tells us about the loopholes in Indian society. Moreover, this is the finest book that targeted the main evil of the society, that is untouchability, where one human disbars himself to touch another being and make realize the lower section of their unnecessary lowness. The book is very interesting, emotional, and at the end, it will motivate you to fight the misdeeds in the society. This will tell us all the injustice, humiliations, and degradation faced by a particular section of the society. This will make us observe the evil things in the society. Thank you. I hope you all like my PPT and I hope you all will read this book as this book is a masterpiece in the world of literature.
Yes,
Thank you.
we liked it very much, and it was a very colorful presentation according to your age, the things which young students like. And I would also like to thank Dr. Sonia Khajuria, that like always, all her participants, all the students from GCW Parade, they are very, very well prepared. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And with this also, I would like to welcome Dr. Rajinder Kaur ma'am, our senior most faculty member and guest of honor of today's program. Now over to you, Simran.
Thank you so much, Kushi. You presented very well. Our listener will definitely read your book. Now our next participant is Ms. Jyoti Baloria. Her presentation is on the book Pinjar. Over to you, Jyoti.
Thank you, Simran. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jyoti from B.Ed second semester. I'm glad to be happy with you today. Before starting my presentation, I give a beautiful quote given by Amrita Pritam. When a man denies the power of women, he is denying his own subconscious. Now, could I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Is my screen is visible?
I think we'll have to wait for a few seconds before it starts.
Ma'am, is my screen is visible?
No, not yet. Take your time.
Ma'am, how can I share my screen?
See, first what you have to do is you have to open your PPT, okay, then minimize it. Then later on you click on to share screen option, and then that option comes. Your PPT
Okay.
opens. Yeah. Okay, till the time, Jyoti, you try to open your PPT. I would like to request Simran to call the next participant, and after that, we'll call Jyoti again. Till then, you fix the problem. Okay,
Okay,
take your
ma'am.
time. Take your time, no issue.
So our next participant is Ms. Rumita Sharma from Integrated B.Ed M.Ed semester 2nd. Her presentation is on the book Tuesdays with Moral. Over to you, Rumita.
Thank you, Simran. Oh. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rumita Sharma, and I am a student of Integrated M.Ed B.Ed semester 2nd from School of Teacher Education. I have prepared a presentation on the book Tuesdays with More by the writer Mitch Albom. So just let me share my screen. Ma'am, someone else is also sharing their screen, so I don't know who. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Jyoti.
I request Jyoti, right now, please don't share your screen. Let Rumita share her screen right now. You just keep it on minimum mode. Yeah, Rumita, try again.
No, it's still not.
Now again, you try, Rumita.
Is it visible?
Not yet.
Okay.
Let us wait for a few seconds.
Okay. Just let me know when it's visible.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Is it visible yet?
No, no, no. Try again, Rumita.
Okay.
Click on the green button, share screen. I request all the participants to open their PPTs and then keep it on minimum mode. Okay. And then later on, when your turn comes, then you share the screen option. You have to click on that button, green button. Yeah, Rumita, I think we are able to see you.
Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, yes. Tuesdays
Okay.
with Maury. Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So I would like to start my presentation with this quote by Mr. Barack Obama that reading is important. If you know how to read, then the whole world opens up to you. My book is Tuesdays with More, an old man, a young man, and life's greatest lesson. The author of the book is Mitch Albom. The full name of Mitch Albom is Mitchell David Albom. He is born on May 23rd, 1958 in New Jersey. He is an author, journalist, and musician. His books have sold over 39 million copies worldwide. The genre in which he writes is non-fiction and fiction, but he is best known for his inspirational stories. In his earlier age, he developed an interest in journalism. He began to write for the Queen's Tribune, a weekly newspaper in New York, while studying in Columbia University Graduate School of Journalism. He took a part-time job with Sport magazine, and he eventually got promoted as a columnist, and far more than a decade, he has been named the top sport columnist in the nation by the Sports Editors of the America, the highest honor in the field. We can contact him through his website and through his Twitter account also. The other books by Mitch Albom, The Five People You Meet in Heaven, For One More Day, Have a Little Faith, The Timekeeper, The First Phone Call from Heaven, The Magic Strings of Frankie Presto, The Next Person You Meet in Heaven. This is the sequel to the book, The Five People You Meet in Heaven, and Finding Chica. Then about this book, The Tuesdays with More. It was published in 1997. It has two characters, Mitch Albom and More, the professor of this writer, Mitch Albom. It was published in 45 different languages and sold over 14 million copies worldwide. The genre of this book is the genres of this book are novel, biography, memoir, philosophical fiction, and biographical fiction. It has 192 pages, and you can easily find it on Amazon, Flipkart, and any local bookstore. The contents of the book. As the writer and his professor meet on every Tuesday, they meet for consequently 14th Tuesday. So the index of the book looks like this: the first Tuesday, the second Tuesday, and they talk about the world, feeling sorry for yourself, regrets, death, life, family, money, love, culture, and forgiveness. This book is basically a memoir about a series of visits that the writer Mitch Albom made to his former sociology professor Morey. The central theme in the book is the way in which accepting one's own death can help you to understand that what really matters in life and to live more meaningful and to live more meaningfully. The main setting is Morey's house, which is located in West Newton, Massachusetts. It is a wonderful book about the meaning of life and life's most important lessons. When Mitch goes back to see his old professor, who has a limited time left due to a very dreadful disease, they recall life lessons from Morey. This book topped the New York Times non-fiction bestsellers list for 23 combined weeks in 2000 and remained on the New York Times best-selling list for more than 4 years after. In 2006, Tuesdays with Morey was the best-selling memoir of all times. This book is author's recounting of the time he spent with his former professor Morey before his death. Before you people actually think that this book is about death and you don't want to read it, but let me tell you one thing. This book tells the story of a dying man, but more than anything, it's a book about life than the plot of the story. The story actually begins with the graduation day of Mitch, where he bids goodbye to his favorite professor, Morey, and then he says, I'll meet you soon. But even after 16 years, that day never came. Mitch got busy with his life and was always aspired to become a musician. He played in nightclubs for years and years, only to realize that his dream was too far-fetched. He had an uncle who suffered from pancreatic cancer, and witnessing him die changed the perspective of Mitch, who started to look at life through a lot differently. He left his job, got back to school, mastered in journalism, and you know what? He went on to become a very successful sport journalist. After that, there was no looking back for him. He got featured in TV shows and radio shows, brought a huge bungalow, cars, and was very well settled. But there was always something missing, the feeling of being complete. And that is how this story begins. One evening, while watching TV, he saw his former professor Morey on a TV show. That was a moment of realization for Mitch. It brought back all the beautiful memories that he had with Morey, and looking at Morey on a wheelchair made him sad. When Morey was being interviewed about the philosophies that he had been following, there was something that said that moved Mitch a lot. He said, and I quote, so many people walk around with a meaningless life. They seem half asleep, even when they are busy doing things they think are important. This is because they are chasing the wrong things. The way you get meaning into your life is to devote yourself to loving others, devote yourself to your community around you, and devote yourself to creating something that gives you purpose and meaning. That was the moment for Mitch. He wanted to go and hug his professor right there and then, but there was something that held him back, the regret of not visiting his favorite professor all these years. But you know what happened the next day? Mitch was standing in front of Morey's house and wondering whether to enter or not. And then Morey saw him. He came to him, hugged him, kissed him, and took him inside. It was a beautiful Tuesday morning, and Mitch and Morey had a very brief conversation. Mitch became sentimental and started sharing about his life, that even though he has been very successful, but he has never been that happy. That is when Morris speaks these beautiful lines, that dying is only one thing to be sad over. Living unhappily is something else. And with that began the first lesson of Morris' last class. That day, when Mitch was about to leave Morey, he had made up his mind for one thing, that he was going to meet Morey on every single Tuesday. Morey brought him happiness. All these beautiful talks, his sparkling eyes, his philosophy towards life, and even being positive when you are being dreaded by such a life threatening disease. This is what moved Mitch a lot. Why should everyone read this book? I, this book is really, really very inspirational. It has life's greatest lessons. It is a story of a dying man, but this book is all about life. Tuesdays with Morey reminds us to slow down and appreciate each other. Morey cautions that at the end of our life, we will miss our relationships with people the most. They will matter much more than the things that seem so important to us. People are always worthy of our time and energy. More was an extremely intelligent, sensitive, and kind person. Throughout the book, we see that how consciously and how maturely he was accepting his condition with no shame and even a bit of humor. And in the face of death, knowing that every single day could be his last one, More was able to verbalize so clearly what really matters in life. In the end, I just want to say one of his quote that, and we all learn it too late to be compassionate, to be living, and to take responsibility for yourself and for others. He said, when you're dead, you are dead a long time. I'm not in a hurry, but I will live as fully as I can while I am here, as vitally and I can, and as lovingly as I can. This book is a reminder for me to not realize that when it's too late. Thank you.
Very good, very good, wonderful. You have given some, strong points as recommendations that why we should read this book. Thank you very much, Simran. I think, yeah, Simran, I think we should get back to Miss Jyoti.
Jyoti, yes,
Yeah,
ma'am. Jyoti,
Miss
Yes,
Jyoti.
ma'am.
Yeah, try again.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Judges to kindly note that participant number 4, Miss Jyoti, is trying again.
Is my screen is visible, ma'am?
Yes, yes, your screen is
Okay,
visible.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, good evening, everyone.
Wonderful.
I am Jyoti from BEd. I am glad to be here with you today. Before starting the presentation, I give a beautiful quote given by Amrita Pritam. When a man denies the power of women, he is denying his own subconsciousness. Now, let's get started. Pinjar by Amrita Pritam was first published in Punjabi in 1950. It was then translated into English by Khushwant Singh and published as The Skeleton. Khushwant Singh was born in 2nd Feb 1950, was an Indian author, lawyer, diplomat, journalist, and politician. His experience in the 1947 partition of India inspired him to write Train to Pakistan in 1956, which became his most well-known novel. Pinjar by Amrita Pritam was first published in Punjabi. The story revolves around a Hindu girl called Puro, with backdrop of partition of India. She is abducted by a Muslim man named Rashid. When Puro is able to run,
अब हम पढ़ेंगे इकोसिस्टम में और इन्वायरमेंट में हम पढ़ते हैं.
Wait a minute. Yeah, please continue.
Okay. The story revolves around a Hindu girl called Puro, with backdrop of partition of India. She is abducted by a Muslim man named Rashid. When Puro is able to run to her parents' home, they refuse to accept the defiled girl. Pinjar is considered as one of the best novels written on the subject of the partition of India. Pinjar is a short novel. The novel describes the male-dominating nature of the society during that period and how women were bound to accept the decision. The novel depicts women as subsidiary characters, accepting the decisions made by their husbands, as is evident when Puro's mother accepts the decision made by her husband when Puro flees back to her place. Puro, a young Hindu woman, is the central character. At the opening of the novel, she is betrothed to a young man named Ramchand. She is kidnapped by a Muslim man named Rashid. His family happens to have an ancestral dispute with Puro's family. Puro manages to escape back to her parents, but her parents turn her away, explaining that if she stays, Rashid Muslim clan would arrive and slaughter everyone. Left with no support, Puro returns to Rashid. Meanwhile, the British colonialists leave India under the effect of partition. Ramchand, his uncle, mother, cousin, and sister leave for India after they found Ramchand's father missing in the Hindu-Muslim riots after partition. Shortly after, Lajo is kidnapped by thugs. Puro meets Ramchand and who tells her about Lajo. Puro finds Lajo and helps her escape with Rashid's help. They leave with Lajo for Lahore, where Puro's brother Trilok and Ramchand come to receive her. Trilok explains to her that she can start a new life with Ramchand as he is still ready to accept her. Pinjar is a feminist novel. Amrita Pritam heaves a feminist voice through the speaking women characters of her novel Pinjar. The novel is a saga of the sorrow and compassion of women of both sides. Pinjar is also a film, real to real, movies that were inspired by major real life event. The Pinjar movie won the National Award for the Best Feature Film on National Integration. I recommend the book to all the readers, more so for the women of today. It is an inspiring book to have a woman realize how caged she is, largely by her own thoughts. After reading this novel, I feel the pain which the women at those times felt. In a way, the writer pleads us to make a society where women have equal rights and are not merely treated as a pinjar. A poem of lament by Amrita Pritam. Aj आँखां वारी शानू कितों कबरां विचों बोल ते अज किताबे इश्के दा कोई अगला वर्का फोल एक रोई सी ती पंजाब दी तू लिख लिख मारे वे अज लखां तियां रोंदियां तैनू वारी शानू कैन उठ दर्द मंदा दियां दर्दियां उठ तक अपना पंजाब अज बेले लाशां बिचनियां ते लहू दी बड़ी चिनाब. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Kamal hai, wonderful, wonderful. Your voice itself showed that how much you have felt closer to this novel. And yes, it is indeed a very interesting novel and very, one can say, eye-opening novel. And with this, I would like to introduce Dr. Radha S. Gautam. I would like to read her bio profile, though we got it quite late. Why at this moment I'm telling you about her? Because Dr. Radha Gautam is actively contributing as a verified citizen historian with the 1947 Partition Archive and Stanford University Libraries, USA. She is engaged in documenting oral histories of the partition survivors. So I think it is a wonderful coincidence. And so far as a citizen historian, she has conducted interviews of partition migrants of 1947 from Sialkot, Pasrur, Rawalpindi, and Sindh. So I think it's a natural coincidence that we have partition novels over here from Pakistan, from India, and Punjabi translated partition novel, and certain novels of that period. And we have a judge who is an expert in this. Dr. Radha S. Gautam is primarily from P.K. Patel College of Commerce, Navsari, and she's working there since 1992. She is associate professor in English. She has 28 years of teaching experience, and she is also a research guide for MPhil and PhD scholars. She has done her thesis on representation of history, a study of partition event in the selected novels. So we are going to hear a lot about it from her later in the program. She has also presented many papers at national and international conferences, and she has also presented in France, Bali, Indonesia, and other significant places. Besides this, she has published 3 books as an author, and she has also co-edited a book. And besides that, she has written 11 research papers and 4 research papers in conference proceedings, and 5 chapters in books at national and international level. So I think it is a wonderful combination. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Simran.
Now our next participant is Miss Nikita from English Honors Semester 5th. Miss Nikita.
Hello.
Yes, Nikita.
Wait a second. My video. Hello. Yeah. So hello everyone. Good evening. It's me Nikita. Hope you are doing great. So before starting, I want to share my screen. Can I?
Yes.
Yes, yes. You can.
Okay. Wait a second. Is it visible?
Yes, it's
Wait a second.
Yeah. Yeah, it's visible.
Wait a second.
Yeah, you just have to make it full screen.
Yeah, ma'am. Wait a second. Wait a second. Some technical. Ma'am, is it visible now?
Yes.
Yeah, right now.
Yes. Yeah, you can start your presentation. We can see.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, now it's okay.
You can go to slideshow option.
So
Yeah, fine.
I hope it is visible and audible.
Yes, fine.
Okay. So today I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite all-time novel, that's Jane Eyre by Charlie Bronte. So seriously, it was an amazing autobiography of a girl, Jane, who was a poor orphan child, and later she became a self-independent woman. So basically, it was a quite interesting novel. Before proceeding towards it, I think I should give some highlights to the novel and the character, to the novel and the author Charlotte Bronte. Yeah. Jane Eyre, originally published as Jane Eyre, an autobiography under the pen name Curl Bell. This novel is written by English writer, as you can see, my favorite, Charlotte Bronte, and it was published on 16 October 1847. And also, this novel contains 38 chapters, quite interesting to read. So it has 3 volumes: 1 to 15, 16 to 27, and 28 to 38. Now, here comes about the author Charlotte Bronte. Born on 21st April 1816, died on 31st March 1855. So its genre are poet and novelist. She wrote various books, some poems, some novels. She wrote her first work, The Professor, but she might not publish her first work for some reason. And in 1847, she published Jane Eyre with positive and huge reviews. We can say that Jane Eyre comes a very huge success in Charlotte's life. And after that, after Jane Eyre, she published her first work, that was The Professor, in 1857. So here are two notable works of Bronte, are Jane Eyre and Villette. Now comes towards her family. She had 5 siblings. The two eldest sister dies when Charlotte was young. She had a brother also, and the two sisters, Ellie Bronte and Anne Bronte. They are the 3 sisters left. All are well-known writers, and their books are published in many countries all over the world. Together, they published under the name of Curl as Charlotte Bronte, Alice and Emily Bronte, and Acton as Annie Bronte. So these are the three sisters. Yeah. So these are the three sisters with their famous novel. As you can see, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, The Tempest of Winterfell Hall as Anne Bronte. So finally comes towards the novel. So here are the main characters of the novel are Jane Eyre. First is Jane Eyre, the protagonist of the novel, and the name of the Jane Eyre and the name of the novel Jane Eyre comes from her. Next, Mrs. Reed, his aunt, and and he's also widow of Jane's uncle. And then Eliza Reed, her cousins, and older daughter of Mrs. Reed family. Next character is Georgia Reed, again her cousin, and younger daughter of Mrs. Reed family. Then John Reed, again cousin and a son of a Reed family. And one more thing I must tell you of these three cousins, they are very bad and very cruel towards Jane, and they just screw up to Jane all the time. They just screw up to Jane. Next is Bessie Lee. She's a servant at Gatehead Hall, where Jane lives. Basically, she lives at her aunt house right now, right in the beginning. Now, next is Mrs. Temple, a kind teacher at Lowood School, and that was the school where her aunt sent her to go. Next is Helen Bone, Jane's best friend at Lowood School. She is a very, very good friend of Jane. Then Mrs. Brockhurster. He is a principal and a headmaster of the at the Lowood School. Now, next character is Mr. Rochester. His full name was Mr. Edward Fairfax Rochester. He is also a protagonist of the novel. He's a gentleman and a master of Thornfield Hall, where he lives right now. Next is Bethra Rochester. He's a mad wife. Really, she's a very mad wife. And at the end, she just spoiled the marriage, spoil all the plans of Rochester and Jane. That I'll tell you in the plot. So next is Mrs. Elias Fairfax. He is housekeeper at the Thornfield Hall. Next is John Eyre, Saint John Eyre Rivers. He was a minister of he's a minister of a parish at Monton. And later he proposes Jane for the marriage, but Jane rejected. Now, next, at last, the character is Diana River and Mara River. He is a sister. They are the sister of John Eyre Rivers. Now comes to the plot. Yeah, the novel begins with Jane. The novel begins with the Jane, where she was living at her aunt house, Mrs. Reed house. Mrs. Reed and her children are very cruel towards Jane. They often misbehave with Jane. And then one night, her aunt locks Jane into a red room, supposedly called as a haunted room in the house. Then Mrs. Reed sent Jane to Lowood School, as I told you in the characters when I'm discussing the characters. So she sent Jane at the Lowood School, where the headmaster, Mrs. Brockhurster, is also very cruel towards Jane. See, firstly, the cousins are very cruel, the aunt are very cruel. Then now next to the headmaster are also very cruel. So she is just facing the cruelty, the problems in her life. So come to the point. The situations are very, very poor at the school. At the poor, the situations are very poor, very, very bad. So her best friend, Helen Byrne, dies at consumption. Then the time passes. Jane becomes a teacher at Lowood School. Then Jane also applies for a governance position at Thornfield Hall, and she also gets the post also. She becomes a governess for a girl named Adele. Now here comes the very turning point in Jane's life. A very interesting scene, you can say. Working at Thornfield Hall, she begins to fall in love with his employer, Mr. Rochester, the main hero. He's the main hero of the story. So he fell in love with Mr. Rochester. Okay, so one day a fire broke out at Thornfield Hall, and Mr. Rochester is sleeping. So here, Jane saved Mr. Rochester's life from the fire. Now, after some time, Rochester confessed her love and desire to marry Jane. And Jane was shocked by knowing his love for her, because she thought that Rochester would wanted to marry his friend Belgum, but he wants to marry Jane. So after some time, they both decided to marry. Then time comes, the day of wedding comes. on the day of wedding, a man turns up at the church and declared that Rochester cannot marry. Rochester cannot marry because he had already a wife. That I told you earlier, he had already a wife. So he can't, he cannot marry again. Sad for Jane and Rochester both. They both sad. Now next, the Rochester revealed the truth about the marriage, about his first marriage. Yeah, first marriage to Jane, with his first marriage with his first wife Bertha. She spoiled. She's a very she's Bertha is a very mad woman, and then Bertha spoiled all the wedding, all the plans, and Rochester still wants to marry Jane. Yeah, Rochester still wants to marry Jane, but Jane could not be with Rochester by knowing the truth of his first marriage life. She could not be wants to marry him again, so she runs away, and she become homeless, and then sick also. So then comes a new entry of a Rivers family. The River families take Jane in and take Jane in their house and look after to her. After some time, Jane inherits his uncle's wealth and property, and then she finds that that the family who took her in who took her in her in them house and look after to her health are actually her cousins. Yes, he knew about that they are his cousins. Then John Rivers asked Jane to join him in his missionary work to abroad, and also he proposes Jane to be his wife. But she rejected his proposal, and the end. And then after some time, Rochester. And after that, when she rejected his proposal, Rochester, Jane thought that Rochester is calling her in a dream. Then Jane decided she cannot marry someone whom she doesn't love. After so it's a very climax. So it's becoming a very climax of the story, and also a very interesting end of the novel. So then after she decided that she cannot marry someone who she doesn't love, then she decided to return Thornfield. When she arrived there, she get to know that it has burned down the house, it has burned down the all things, and Rochester is now living at Fernal. Rochester lost his house and at the Thornfield, and due to fire, and he also lost his first wife Bertha, and Rochester got injured, got blind. Then Jane rushes to him and decided to marry him again. Yes. Then novel conclude with Jane and Rochester married life, they with their children, and later Rochester regains his sight in one eye. So this is how they both met. They both met again, leaving behind all the troubles, all the hurdles, and how Jane's life is full of cruelty, problems. But somehow she made herself a strong and independent woman, which especially I love the part in the novel. I love this part in the novel. So as you can see, these are the main scenes of the novel.
Nikita, I know you are a voracious reader. I appreciate that. But kindly conclude, because we have limitation for Zoom recording. Yeah, yes. I would have allowed, but we have limitation for Zoom recording, right?
Yes, ma'am. It's over. It's now over. Yeah. So these are the main scenes. As you can see, the Jane is traumatized by his ghost of uncle. Then she's treated badly in the school. So these are the main scenes. So now these are the themes of novels like marriage, education, appearance, society, supernatural. But the main themes are these: love, hate. The first one is love and hate. As you all know, in the story, Jane first loved Rochester, and then she hates Rochester because by knowing his first wife truth. So it's all about love, hate, and then again love. So second is social class. They both belong to a different social classes and societies. Then third is personal discovery. Jane is a building from Roman novels that follow struggle from childhood to adulthood. So she just made discoveries in all her life. So this is a film is also made on Jane Eyre, directed by Carrie Frongon in 2011. It is a romantic drama film based on a Charlotte Bronte 1847 novel, and you can also watch this film on Google, YouTube, or any social media app. This film received positive reviews for critics. So in the last, I would love to recommend this book, personally my favorite book, because it is well known and well loved for a reason. It is one of my favorite classic term. And Jane is a fantastic female protagonist. I love that she sticks to her beliefs. It is also so well written, and each words in the in the choose of a reason. The author choose the words for a reason. Bronte doesn't waste any word for this result, and immersive reading experience would come. So after reading this book, I get to know how back our women's and society was there during the George II in England in Victorian era, how the time was there. It also shows the strength and character of abusive orphan girl growing up to be a strong, confident and independent woman. Even whatever the people are trying to cover the truth with lies and fakeness, but she just stuck with on her beliefs. So reading this book, you all get to know about Victorian era. There was the slow and steady element of societal change in the world and mid 1880s Britain. So hope you are enjoyed with an interest in the novel with me. So thank you so much to each
Thank
of
you.
hearing me. Thank you once.
Thank you, Nikita. You presented like a scholar, basically. So thank you very much for this detailed but description of the book. But we had certain limitations, and I apologize that I had to stop you.
No, it's okay, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. So Simran, I think Usma is absent, our next
Yes, ma'am.
participant. Yeah, judges to kindly note that the next participant, Usma, she's absent, and now we are left with 4 participants. So Simran, please announce the name.
Our next participant is Ruchi from MA semester 2nd.
Ruchi, are you there in the meeting? No, I don't think she's there. Ruchi.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम रुचि शर्मा है। मैं जम्मू यूनिवर्सिटी दी छात्रा हां। हुण मैं तुंदे सारे कोला अपनी स्क्रीन शेयर करने दी इजाजत लैना।
जी जरूर शेयर करो।
ਅੱਜ मैं तुंदे सारे दे सामने डोगरी दा एक मशहूर उपन्यास टुट्टी दी डोर जेड़ा बेदराही जी ने लिखे दा है वो सुनाना चाहनी हां। टुट्टी दी डोर थमा इस उपन्यास च टुट्टी दी डोर समा साड़ा एह अभिप्राय है जे टुट्टे दे रिश्ते या टुट्टे दा विश्वास, हर रिश्ते च विश्वास दा होना बड़ा जरूरी है। जेकर वो विश्वास टुट्टी जा तां रिश्ता भी टुट्टी जांदा है। विश्वास एक डोर दा काम करदा है जेड़ा रिश्तें गी बन्निए रखदा है। एक पति पत्नी च जेकर वो विश्वास टुट्टी जा जां ते उंदे विच झगड़े शुरू होई जांदे ना जां फिर उंदा तलाक होइए वो बक्ख होई जांदे ना। रचनाकार जी दे बारे च बेदराही जी डुग्गर दे मन्ने परमन्ने दे कवियां चा इक ना। इन्हें कई टीवी सीरियल फिल्म भी लिखियां। शुरुआती च एह् डोगरी च लिखदे हे, बल्ले बल्ले इन्हें डोगरी च भी लिखना शुरू किया ते जिसलै एह् बम्बई शिफ्ट होइए इन्हें हिंदी च भी अपनी कलम चुकी। जेकर असें इंदी जन्म की गल करचै तां इंदा जन्म 22 मई सन 1933 ईस्वी गी लाला मुल्क राज शराफ हुंदे घर जम्मू च होआ। इन्हें डोगरी दी लगभग हर विधा उपर अपनी कलम चुकी, उपन्यास, कविताएं, नाटक, गजल आदि लिखियां। इंदी रचना इस चाल्ली न। काले हत्थ, आले, हाड़वेड़ी पत्तन, धाना दे अथरू, दरेड़, टुट्टी दी डोर, जगदियां जोतां, रातां और तूफान, टूटे वृक्ष नहीं पौध, सीमा का पत्थर, दरार, 21 कहानियां, गर्भ जून, क्रॉस फायरिंग, चुप रहियां, प्रार्थना कर। टुट्टी दी डोर उपन्यास बेदराही जी हुंदा त्रीया उपन्यास है जेड़ा सन 1978 च छपया हा। उपन्यास दा कथानक महानगरी जीवन ते समस्या पर आधारित है। स्वाभिमान ते हंकार दे कारण मानू दे सरबंधे मजाटे कदे कदे इन्नी लंबी दरेड़ पई जांदी है जे ओदा भरोना औखा होई जांदा है। उपन्यास दे पात्र इस चाल्ली न। इस उपन्यास च 3 मुख पात्र न, ਅਰੁਣਾ, ਸਤੇਨ ਤੇ ਡਾਲੀ ਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਦੇ ਸਹਾਇਕ ਤੇ ਗੌਣ ਪਾਤਰ। ਪਾਤਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਆਪਸ ਦੇ ਸੰਬੰਧ। ਅਰੁਣਾ ਤੇ ਸਤੇਨ ਪਤੀ ਪਤਨੀ ਹੈ। ਉਨਦੀ ਧੀ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਡਾਲੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਡਾਲੀ ਦੀ ਦੋ ਸਹੇਲੀਆਂ ਹੀ ਜਿੰਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਹੈ ਰੀਤੂ ਤੇ ਮੰਜੂ। ਅਰੁਣਾ ਦੀ ਦੋ ਸਹੇਲੀਆਂ ਹੀ ਕੋਮਲ ਤੇ ਗੀਤਾ ਪਾਰੇਖ। ਗੀਤਾ ਪਾਰੇਖ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਵਾਲੇ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਹੈ ਪ੍ਰਵੀਨ ਪਾਰੇਖ ਤੇ उनके 3 जागत थे जिनका नाम है नीरज, रवि ते अंजू। टुट्टी दी डोर उपन्यास बड़ा गै शैल उपन्यास है। मिगी जिसलै मैं ये उपन्यास पढ़ा करदी ही मिगी इ'यां बजोआ करदा हा जिवें अज्ज दे समाज दा शीशा दिक्खा करनी आं जित्थै लोकें गी अपने लेई विश्वास बड़ा फिक्का होई गेदा है। इस उपन्यास दी शुरुआत इ'यां होंदी है जिस उपन्यास दी इक मुक्ख पात्र जिहदा नाम अरुणा है उसदा ऑर्डर ट्रांसफर ऑर्डर आई जाता है। वो अपने ऑर्डर गी लेइयै बड़ी गै दुखी होई जंदी है। वो बड़ा जोर लांदी है जो अपने इस ट्रांसफर गी रोकी सकै पर वो इस कोशिश च नाकामयाब होंदी है। वो बड़ी परेशान हो जाती है जे 14 बरे परैंत वो जिस शहर गी छोड़ियै जिस अतीत गी छोड़ियै अपनी ट्रांसफर करवाइयै दिल्ली आई गई ही अज उस्सै शहर च ओह्दी ट्रांसफर होआ करदी है। एक तरफ जिथे अरुणा इन्नी दुखी ही दूए पासे डाली इन्नी गै खुश ही। बंबई पुजदे गै अरुणा गी ओह्दी पुरानी दोस्त कन्नै मिलना होई जंदा है। एक पासे अरुणा अपनी सहेली गीता दे जागत नीरज कन्नै अपनी धी डाली दे ब्याह बारे सोचा करदी है ते दूई पासे डाली जी जान कन्नै अपने पिता गी तुप्पने च लगी दी ही। गीता ते अरुणा दोने एह् चांह्दे हे जे नीरज ते डाली दा ब्याह होई जा ते नीरज गी डाली पसंद आई जा। जिसलै नीरज डाली गी दिखदा है ते ओह् डाली उसगी पसंद आई जंदी है। अरुणा अपनी धी डाली कन्नै ओह्दे ब्याह दे बारे गल्ल करदी है ते डाली ब्याह आस्तै साफ इनकार करी दिंदी है। ओह्दे मां दे पुच्छने उप्पर जे ओह् ब्याह की नहीं करना चाहंदी ओह् परता दिंदी है जे जिसलै तुंदा पापा हुंदे कन्नै तलाक होआ हा तुसें मेरे भविक्ख दी खातिर मेरे पालन पोषण दे खातिर दूआ ब्याह नहीं कीता हा ते अज मैं तुसेंगी जिसलै तुसेंगी मेरी जरूरत है तुसेंगी इकला कि'यां छोड़ी सकदी आं। मेरे बिना तुंदा केह् होग, तुंदा ख्याल कौन रखग। एह् गल्ल सुनियै अरुणा भी बड़ी दुआस होई जंदी है। डाली लगातार अपने पिता गी तुप्पने च लगी दी ही। ओह् ते अपनी गै इक दुनिया च ही। उसगी केईं नाकामयाबियें दा सामना करना पौंदा है पर अपनी सहेली रीतू ते ओह्दे दोस्त दी मदद कन्नै ओह् अपने पिता गी तुप्पी गै लैंदी है। पिता दे मिलने पर ओह्दा अपने पिता कन्नै मिलना जुलना शुरू हो जाता है। अरुणा गी भी इस बारे च पता चलदा है ते ओह् नीरज गी इस बारे च ते डाली दे पिता दे बारे च सब सनाई दिंदी है। नीरज जिसलै डाली दे पिता दे बारे सुनदा है ते उसगी एह् सोचियै बड़ा गै दुख होंदा है जे जिस उम्र च एक बच्चे गी अपने माता पिता दोनों का साथ चाहिदा होंदा है डाली ने उत्थे अपने पिता दे बिना जिंदगी गुजारी। नीरज भी डाली दी मदद करन लगी पौंदा है। वो दोनों एक प्लान करदे न जे अरुणा ते सतेन गी ओह् इक सिनेमा हॉल च मिलाग। अरुणा ते सतेन जोल्लै इक दूए गी दिखदे न ते ओह् बुत जन बनी जंदे न। अरुणा उत्थुआं उट्ठियै बाहर जाना चाहती है पर पिछों बाजा आने दे कारण जे बेही जाओ ओह् मजबूर होइयै बेही जंदी है। फिल्म दिखदे दिखदे उ'नेंगी इ'यां बझोंदा है जि'यां ओह् फिल्म नहीं अपना अतीत दिक्खा करदे न। ऐसी केह् गल्ल होई ही जे अरुणा ते सतेन जेह्ड़े इक दूजे कन्नै इन्ना प्रेम करदे हे ओह् बक्ख होए हे। नीरज ते डाली दा ब्याह होआ हा कि अरुणा ते सतेन अंत च मिलदे न। मैं चाहनी आं तुस इस उपन्यास गी खुद पढ़ो एह् सब जानने आस्तै। शिक्षा मैं तुसेंगी एह् बुक क्यों सुजैस्ट कीती है क्योंकि इस गी पढ़ने बाद असेंगी शिक्षा मिलदी है जे असेंगी कदें भी लोकें दे गल्लें च आइयै आपस च नहीं लड़ना चाहिदा। अजकल असें दिक्खा करने आं सब तू ज्यादा जेह्ड़ी प्रॉब्लम है एह् है कि अस विश्वास नहीं करदे। हर रिलेशन बिच विश्वास दा होना बड़ा जरूरी है ते जिसगी असें लोकें दी गल्लें च आइयै कदें नहीं तोड़ना चाहिदा और कोई भी फैसला जल्दबाजी च नहीं लैना चाहिदा ते ना कि गुस्से च। एक पति पत्नी ते फैसला लेई लैंदे बक्ख होने दा लेकिन सब तू ज्यादा जेह्ड़ा सफर है ओह् उंदे बच्चे दी गै करना पौंदा है। पति पत्नी तां अलग होइए पर डाली दा जो जीवन रेहा ओह् अपने पिता आस्तै तड़फी है उस दर्द गी डाली गै समझी जंदी है जे इतनी छोटी जी एज ऊपर उन्हें दुख सहन किया। थैंक यू।
बहुत अच्छे, बहुत अच्छे, बहुत बढ़िया। आप हालांकि डोगरी में प्रेजेंट कर रहे थे, बट आई एम श्योर दैट आवर जज डॉक्टर राधा गौतम must have understood the story through pictures.
Yes, yes, very much. And Ruchi's voice wonderful.
Yeah.
Akashwani voice.
Yes, 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 yes. And the way she narrated, and I must tell the judges that she is from a very far away college, Government Degree College, Akroor, and she is participating for the first time. So hats off to you, Miss Ruchi. Thank you very much. Yeah, Simran, I think now we are left with only 2 participants.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, Binday is not there.
Okay.
So our next participant is Charu from Integrated B.Ed MA semester 5th.
Yeah, Charu, over to you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, dear.
Okay. I'm not able to share my screen. Yes, now I'm able to do it. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yeah, let's wait for a few seconds.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
No, not yet, not yet. Try again.
Okay, okay, I'll try again.
I hope you have kept your PPT open.
Yes, ma'am, I have kept it open.
Yeah. Your class is now expert in presentations.
Screen off, Nikki, that's fine. Yes, Ruchi, can you please?
Yeah, Ruchi, please stop screen sharing. Yeah, now I think Charu, you will be able to share your screen.
Now you can. I am doing it. Let me do it once again.
Yeah, yes, Charu, please share.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Is it visible now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank God, finally. Okay, so the book I have chosen is The White Tiger by Arvind Adiga. So literature is a reflection of society. It reflects both good and bad values of society. And this particular book I have chosen because we live in the society of India. We belong to the country India, and still we have got independence in 1947. But still we are on the ladder of progressing. We are not progressed yet. And what are the causes? So through this novel, I am going to show you, I am going to discuss few causes due to which we are not able to we are not able to turn into a developed country instead of developing. So this book is The White Tiger by Arvind Adiga. So I have divided, these are the different cover pages of the book of White Tiger. So I have divided my presentation into these contents. Now about Arvind Adiga. Arvind Adiga was born on 23rd October 1947 in Madras, India. He is an Indian writer and journalist. He is a former correspondent for Time magazine and has contributed his writings to the Financial Times, the Independent, the Sunday, the Times, and so on. His works include 5 novels: The White Tiger, Between the Assassination, Last Man in Tar, Selection Day, and Amnesty. And his works also include short stories, that is The Sultan's Battery, Smack, Last Christmas in Bandra, and The Elephant. He has won the 40th Man Booker Literary Prize for his debut novel, that was The White Tiger. And it is also claimed that Adiga's work does for India what Dickens' work did for Victorian age. So these are the key facts of the novel, but I would like to highlight the important key facts, that is genre. It is the genre of the novel is picaresque. And what does picaresque mean? It means that episodic style of fiction dealing with adventures of a rough and dishonest but appealing hero. Moreover, it is also epistolary. It means it is written in the forms of letter, and it is autobiography of a half-baked man. Please look at the term half-baked man that I'm going to discuss later. What does it mean? Now, the literary period is contemporary, that is modern India, and its setting is also in modern India. And about narrative style, its narrative style is first person narration and retrospective mode of narration. Retrospective mode of narration means that it means that looking back on or directed to the past events. Okay, so next one is climax, that we will discuss later. So antagonist of this novel is dark India, society, poverty, and circumstances. And after reading this novel, I have also for me, the protagonist of the novel, that is Balram, is also, I feel like he is also the antagonist of the story, because though circumstances are such, but still he should not have committed the things that he did. The novel gives a dark, humorous perspective of India's class struggle in a globalized world. It deals with the raw practicality of Indian life and discovers the grayer shades of human nature, needs, and desire. The White Tiger offers a story of cross-casting wit, blistering suspense, and questionable morality, told by a most volatile, captivating, and utterly inimitable narrator. The book is divided into 8 chapters, like first night, second night, and so on till 8th night. So now, plot overview. The White Tiger is the story of Balram Halwai's life as a self-declared, self-made entrepreneur, a rickshaw driver's son who skillfully climbs India's social ladder to become a chauffeur and later a successful businessman. Balram recounts his life story in a letter to visiting Chinese official Premier Wen Jiabao with the goal of educating the premier about entrepreneurship in India. He also wanted to show him what real India is. Throughout his childhood, Balram's family lives at the mercy of 4 cruel, exploitative landlords referred to as the animals. And those animals are the raven, the stork, the buffalo, and the wild boar. Despite the difficult life he is born into, Balram excels in school. His academic potential and personal integrity distinguish him from his classmates, bringing him to the attention of a visiting school inspector who nicknames him as the White Tiger, after the most rare and intelligent creature in the jungle. Balram's parents recognize his potential and want him to complete his education, but his grandmother Kusum removes him from the school early so that he can work and support his family and bring some money to home. But when he went for work, he started his working at a tea shop, but there he often used to skip his work. And what he used to do there, he used to listen to people, like their talks. He often listened to customers' conversation, and through that conversation, he learns about the government and economy of India and often corrupt way this world operates. Soon he gets a job driving for the stock sons. Embracing his upward mobility, Balram soon drifts further and further from old life and stops sending money home to his family. His grandmother pressures him to marry, but wanting to keep climbing the social ladder, Balram accompanies Ashok and Pinky Madam to Delhi. And finally, when he gets a job of
Charu, something wrong went on my side, basically. I request you to share your screen again. Sorry to interrupt your flow of thought.
Okay, ma'am.
Kindly share again.
Ma'am, is it visible?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So in Delhi, finally he gets a job of the driver of Ashok and Pinky Madam. And one night in Delhi, when Pinky Ma'am drives the car in drinking state, she accidentally hits and kills a child. And the Mangoose was Ashok's brother, and he was brother-in-law of Pinky Madam. He pressurized Balram to say that it was Balram who was driving the car, and he asked him to go to jail instead of Pinky Madam's face. So Stock bribes police, and the case is dropped. After that, Pinky Madam ends her marriage with Ashok and leaves the country. On the other hand, begins drinking heavily and going out to clubs. Despite this, he continues to be heavily involved in corruption, frequently collecting money in a distinct red bag and using huge amounts of it as bribes for government officials. After that, Balrams conclude that he will have to murder Ashok if he is able to escape the poverty and servitude. Balram finally stabs Ashok in the neck with a broken whiskey bottle and steals the red bag that contains money around 700,000 rupees. So how he then escapes from after committing the murder, and how he becomes a great entrepreneur. I'm not disclosing it because I want you people to read it, because it is really one of the greatest novel that I have ever read. And since it is portraying our own country, the condition of our own country, so I want you to read it. That's why I'm not disclosing it. So after that, what the important thing I have felt this novel depicts is depiction of two India. This novel, after reading, I have felt that this novel particularly depicts two Indias in one country. Balram is evolved from the darkness to light. So he has experiences. He has experiences of two Indias, and he even says, "Please understand, Your Excellence, that India is two countries in one, an India of light and India of darkness. The ocean brings light to my country. Every place on the top of the map of India near the ocean is well off, but the river brings darkness to the country, the Black River." Here, the Black River refers to the Ganga River. Balram says areas near the ocean are well off because the ocean brings light into the country. On the other hand, the poor rural parts of the country that follow the Ganga River are known in the novel simply as the darkness. The river brings darkness and death. The darkness is plagued by poverty, hopelessness, and oppression. In the light, successful figures such as entrepreneurs, business people, and politicians live in luxury in the top tiers of society, while people of lower caste and are stuck down in the darkness, living in poverty and working tirelessly for the benefits of others. It is repeatedly demonstrated that corruption, abuse, and oppression are employed by those in power to keep others permanently in the darkness. Moreover, there is also a lot of differences between the hospital where Balram's father dies and the city hospital visited by the Stock. And there are malls for the rich and markets for the poor. And these are the things which we can see in our state also. So, अगर मैं इस particularly इस चीज की बात करूं, not country, अगर हम कभी भी बाहर निकलते हैं, we see these things even out of the restaurants also. जब भी हम बाहर जाएंगे, we will see that people are struggling just for the food, and we people just sometimes waste the food. Now, symbols. There are various symbols that are used by Adiga, and Adiga uses a variety of animals, both domestic and wild, to illustrate his points about India's politics and culture. India is portrayed as a jungle with different levels of society. Some are on the hunt for prey, and others simply avoid being consumed. Eat or be eaten up is the only way to live in India. The white tiger is another symbol that is used by Adiga. Balram is a half-baked man. Here, half-baked man means half-baked man refers to a person who has not completed his education. Though Balram was an intelligent person and a good learner, but still he was not able to complete his education because of his family pressure. The white tiger literally means that rare creature born once in a generation, a name given to the street smart protagonist when he answered all the questions rightly posed to him by the school inspector in a remote village of Bihar. Balram's natural intelligence and integrity set him apart from his peers from an early age. On one occasion, his integrity set him apart from his peers from an early age. On one occasion, his academic powers so impressed a visiting school inspector that the official calls him a white tiger, the most noble and intelligent animal in the jungle. Throughout his life, Balram's concept of him as a white tiger and as an exceptional person motivates him to advocate for himself and fight for his own advancement. His conviction that he is somehow special also causes him to feel exempt from traditional moral and legal standards, empowered to live life on his own terms. The next one is the lizard symbol. In India, if one is scared of lizard, then he or she is a coward. Lizard here is a representative of inner Balram. When threatened, the lizard.
Yeah, Charu, I understand you are presenting it in a very scholarly manner. I really appreciate that. But we have to see the time limit also, like I mentioned earlier. Could you please come to why do you recommend this?
Okay, ma'am.
It's quite mature. It's quite a mature presentation, no doubt about it. But
yes,
let us go on to why do you recommend this book? Because others also need to read the book, right?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
So why I am recommending this book? Because this book is perfectly it's true picture of our society, of our country. अगर मैं सिंपल लेमैन की लैंग्वेज में बात करूं, इस नॉवल में एक सीन हुआ था जब पिंकी मैम से एक कार एक्सीडेंट में एक बच्चे की डेथ हो जाती है एंड उसके बाद बलराम जो उसके मास्टर्स हैं, पिंकी मैम के हस्बैंड और जो भी पिंकी मैम के घर में जो भी हाई पोजीशंस पे है, वो बलराम को फोर्स करते हैं दैट यू जस्ट टेक योर नेम दैट यू वर ड्राइविंग द कार एंड द सेम थिंग हैपेंस इन आवर कंट्री आल्सो. हम लोग कितनी बार न्यूज में सुनते हैं कि such sometimes celebrities, even politicians are indulged in some serious crimes. The most common example was Salman Khan's case, and people were supporting them. So some few people were supporting them, and on the same अगर on the same road में बात करूं, अगर किसी और कॉमन पर्सन से कोई एक्सीडेंट हो जाता है और इवन किसी कभी कोई कार ही हिट हो जाती है, वी जस्ट स्टैब हिम एंड स्लैप हिम. बट उस on the same point, just like Salman Khan killed a person, people were posting comments like footpaths are not meant for sleeping. So our footpaths were meant for driving too. So these are the things that Adiga wants to show, that how people who are sitting on positions, who are having powers, they are misusing it, and how they are using power to keeping the lower people at lower level only, and not giving them chance to stand up, even to stand up for their own rights. So that is the reason I am recommending this book. I want people to read this book, because this book is truly representing the actual picture of our country. It is representing the lighter and the darker India. So we have to read this book, and we have to understand the things that are making our country darker, so that we can stop such crimes, and so that we can stop such things, and make take our country from a darker side to the lighter side. To conclude, The White Tiger draws a picture of the contemporary world, where people who does not care about others, if they want to earn money or become entrepreneurs, they are ready even to kill others. Just like Balram killed his master Ashok, there are a lot of people like Balram in our society in the field of business and politics, and Adiga makes us sharply aware of this. The novel makes every right-thinking citizen of our country to read the signs of the times and be socially conscious of the rights and duties of each one, irrespective of caste, creed, or economic status, in order to prevent prevent creating persons like Balram and even Ashok. Thank you.
Yeah, I understand that you are ready for presenting your papers for national and international conferences.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
But here we have to keep the time limit. Thank you, dear. Next, please, last participant. Last participant.
Last participant is Sakshi Sambyal.
Yeah.
Over to you, Sakshi.
Okay, ma'am. Hello, everybody.
Charu, please stop sharing.
Ma'am, I have stopped it.
Screen. Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So my presentation is on the book Think Like a Monk. Okay. So title of the book Think Like a Monk, and the name of the author Jay Shetty. And you know, I'm somebody who usually like books based on, you know, self-care. So I love to read self-care book. So book which I recently just completed is the Think Like a Monk. Let's just know about the author. Jay Shetty is an award-winning host, viral content creator, motivational speaker, and author. Jay Shetty was born on 6 September 1987 in London, United Kingdom. Jay launched his YouTube channel in 2016 to provide wisdom videos. 4 years later, he has obtained over 4 million views on YouTube. 4 billion views, and has over 20 million followers on globally. On top of this, Jay was named in the Forbes 30 under 30. He is a British, but his intensity is Indian. Until the age of 14, he used to be very shy, but later on he became rebellious and nobody used to like him. He completed his schooling from London, United Kingdom, and later joined the Caste Business School, London, to pursue a bachelor degree in BSc Honor in Behavioral Science. Jay life was changed when he met a monk at the age of 18. Jay started redefining success for himself and wanted to serve others. At age 22, he spent 3 years traveling across India and Europe as a monk. You know, as a monk. His daily routine was waking up at 4 a.m., taking cold shower, meditating, and eating. However, he aims to help people apply the monk kind of mindset to busy city life. Nowadays, we all know, especially during the lockdown period, we realized that our mental health is so much important to us. So there are so many